The topic of helpful content recovery has been on everyone's mind for months now. How is it that after years of being told just write great content, build a blog, build authority, and yet over the last 6 months or so, so many businesses have been completely destroyed by Google updates? Now, you may well see some gurus talking about how they know how to fix a helpful content update, even selling helpful content recovery services. But I can tell you honestly, it doesn't exist. Everyone I talk to in the industry, behind closed doors, behind the public-facing image, no one knows. Now, of course, if you've got a site with lots of authority, you do seem to be safe. So through sheer brute force and building backlinks, you do seem to be able to get around a lot of the issues. But the old idea of micro niche sites full of blogs does seem to be very much under threat. Of course, there's outliers either side. You can still get away with plenty, but it's definitely not the business it once was. Now, last week at Brighton SEO, I finally got to meet Jamie IF. Turns out we only live about a 10-minute drive from each other, but he's been quite big in the affiliate site space for a couple of years now. And in conversation, we were talking about a recurring theme I've seen more and more lately, which is this question that if Google seems to prioritize sites that seem to have a real business model and seem to actually have products, then they can get away with a lot of the helpful content issues. So in pretty much every niche now, it's quite typical to find blogs with a DR of 10 or 20 ranking for pretty competitive keywords if they're on an e-commerce site. Now, here's one of my clients actually in the adult niche who joined us back in August. So they've gone from around 850 visitors per month right up to 5,500 visitors per month. And aside from a lot of e-commerce SEO, we implemented one of my common strategies for e-commerce sites, which is not only to optimize your category and your product pages, but have a blog where you try and rank for all the best keywords and indeed review keywords. You can even review your competitors in there and then send your traffic through to your e-commerce products. Now, obviously I can't reveal the exact site, but I can tell you that are on page 1, quite high up on page 1 for best rabbit vibrator, which gets 1,500 searches per month. Now, this has been one of your classic affiliate keywords that you'd have loved to go after a couple of years ago, but we can see we've got good housekeeping at the top, ranking number 1. And that says a lot about, as we see in every affiliate search these days, we've got Forbes, Good Housekeeping, all these really massive media brands at the top. So how did my much smaller client, an e-commerce website, manage to compete with those? Well, I think that point about being an e-commerce site, as well as building high quality backlinks and performing all that e-commerce SEO, has a lot to do with it. And it's exactly that I want to talk about today, how basically, if Google is telling us that e-commerce sites should have an unnatural advantage, then how could we leverage that to our benefit? This has been a big talking point in my private mastermind, where we've got some seriously high-level entrepreneurs in the group who have had content sites that have been hit, and yet their e-com sites are still doing really well. So we're formulating plans where how is it that you could potentially repurpose a content site into an e-com site? And you don't even have to sell any products. We're just trying to signal to Google that this is an e-com site, and therefore we should pass that test. We deserve to rank. So that was my conversation with Jamie IF in Brighton, saying the exact same thing, that basically if a certain percentage of your website looks like an e-com site, then does that get you that advantage where you can then rank alongside Forbes and Good Housekeeping for those classic affiliate keywords? So when I got thinking about this, the initial thought experiment was, well, Shopify's got a massive footprint. So many websites have got powered by Shopify at the bottom. It's not going to be difficult to get a lot of data about how Shopify sites are performing on the whole. Now, of course, you can have an e-com site on any platform, but interesting talking point in the mastermind was with Shopify, a Shopify site is never going to be a niche site. So I think if anyone is going to have outliers, low DR sites ranking for affiliate keywords, and they're on Shopify, then that tells us there's weight to this theory. Now, in contrast to that, Jamie's a bit of a stirrer, and he has been getting in fights with Ricky Kessler of Income School, basically saying the Income School model doesn't work anymore. They had a really big following a few years ago where basically they just said, answer loads of questions in your blog and then monetize with banner ads. And Jamie's basically done a data-backed study using the theme they recommend in the course, which says pretty much the majority of sites following that model have been tanked, which I wouldn't be at all surprised by, but I'm going to do a separate video on SEO beefs and how that works, and basically I prefer to stay away from conflict and just focus on the positives and keep growing rather than trying to tear anyone else down. But Jamie's relentlessness in scraping this much data to find these conclusions is quite impressive. So we're basically doing the same thing with Shopify to a much smaller extent, because I can just go to builtwith.com and find a top list of Shopify websites. Now, in this case, I'm looking at coffee for a number of reasons. Coffee would be a really good affiliate niche. I actually bought an expired coffee domain a few years ago from Odis Global. I've just had this sitting on the back burner for a long time now, so it's getting some traction, but not a lot. I'm mainly using it for links. But I do have an RSS feed set up so that OpenAI will basically take trending news topics from the coffee industry and then rewrite them as fresh news content. So that just keeps running in the background and keeps the site alive. So this is basically how I'm building my network of sites at the moment, which is going to form part of the Resurrection PBN network for the Disciples Mastermind. The intention behind this is basically good quality backlinks getting harder and harder to find, partly because many websites you could normally get links from have actually lost significant amounts of traffic. So we don't want to build links from sites with low traffic. And what tends to happen is these sites get desperate and then start selling links to everyone they can. And then the power of those links becomes really small because it's distributed, it's diluted. So according to Google, PBNs are bad and you shouldn't do them. But the fundamental truth that you can get an expired domain and then link out to a very limited number of sites and concentrate all that power into a really tight funnel just to a few sites is really compelling. Google's not really going to be able to do anything about it. So when I launched the mastermind, the plan was basically to reinvest some of those proceeds. So not only do you get 2 group calls a month with me and access to a really high level community Slack channel where we're all having these discussions, but I wanted to buy up really powerful expired domains. So DR 30, 40, we've got a couple on the go already, rebuild them to how they once looked. And then Disciples Mastermind members can get extremely powerful links from them because these expired domains are not going to link out to more than a select handful of websites. So that DR 3040 is going to funnel all that power to me and Disciples members. That's not the normal kind of PBN links you see for sale across the internet for $20 where they'll be buying a DR5 and then selling 100 links on it. This is very much an exclusive network. And a lot of it comes down to that RSS automation I just talked about, where I'm basically looking at building a network of news sites using RSS feeds. They can then be listed on Google News, which is actually a separate algorithm. They get instant indexing, which also means if you place links on it, your content gets indexed right away. But also the way the Google algorithm functions, news sites get different treatment to standard websites. So there's a lot of power there. But if you're not ready to join the mastermind yet, then just go to SEOJesus.com, click in the top right corner for the Ranking Revelations newsletter, and you can sign up absolutely free there. There's a load of great resources just in the automatic welcome email, so don't miss out on that. So aside from the fact I have this coffee domain, it's also a good affiliate niche, some good affiliate offers out there. Yesterday, I talked about ClickBank and how you can find high-paying affiliate offers there. But by going through that list and looking for the search results for each of these products, you can get an idea of the latest and best tactics from some of the most aggressive SEOs in the world. So that was my video the other day on basically how you uncover the latest, greatest parasite opportunities. But what you'll notice is one of the top performing offers, in fact, the top performing offer at the moment is called Java Burn. And this is basically a coffee weight loss product. So gravity score of 370, that means it's selling a huge amount. Average commission per conversion, $150, and then a recurring commission of $55. So this is an extremely profitable product. This is exactly why I bought a coffee expired domain from Odin, because although it's technically a supplement, this is a coffee product. So my plan was to build a massive affiliate blog for coffee, but really make the money by pushing the supplement that you have with your coffee. But for today's purposes of e-commerce, coffee is also a really good dropshipping product. So let's remember the intention with this is actually to try and just signal to Google that we are an e-commerce site and therefore qualify to rank for loads of traditional affiliate keywords. However, we don't know, can Google tell a fake e-commerce website? And even just for user experience and things like that, how hard would it be to just do a dropshipping site anyway? It might be the same effort to actually make a profitable site that actually sells products rather than creating a fake template. Now, for all the people over the last 5 years talking about how great dropshipping is, I have never cracked it. I've never been a fan. I don't understand how you can basically blast money on Facebook ads in the hope that someone might click on it, order it, and then 6 weeks later, you'll get this product in that wish.com white plastic with Chinese writing on it, and they've paid $30 for it and you paid $2 for it. Is that a way to grow a sustainable business? I don't think so. I know in the furniture niche, like Wayfair, places like that, dropshipping absolutely does work, and I know there's plenty of success stories, but personally, for me, there's some B2C type products. I just don't quite understand it. But coffee, I do. And that's because there are plenty of dropshipping solutions built for the coffee niche. Now, one of those is called Dripshipper. I'll leave a link to this below and you can get a free trial. But it basically says start a coffee business in 1 day. Okay, that's a little shady, but so far I'm convinced it doesn't look too for the red flags. And my concern about dropshipping has always been lack of control over the product. But it does seem like they've actually got a big array of products, because we in SEO know that we need to find niche opportunities in order to rank. my 50 grand a month insurance client, they only got there through finding the crumbs, not the pie, to quote War Dogs again. They found these tight little insurance niches. They do not rank for pet insurance, home insurance, all of those. But just going after those crumbs, you can build a real empire. So the fact that all of these copies are available for dropshipping is really compelling. So I've had this list of Shopify and therefore e-commerce coffee brands. Most of them are really big. We've got, for instance, bulletproofcoffee.com and foursigmatic.com. So I put those into a batch analysis, and of course they're really high DR sites and therefore not good data for our test. But then I just took drinksupercoffee.com as the lower DR of 56, still getting 40,000 visitors per month. I put that into Ahrefs and then basically mined it for low competition keywords using the new Ahrefs feature, where I can simply put in a filter that says I want a lowest DR of 20 in the top 10. So that means for all these keywords now in the filter, in the top 10, there will be a DR 20 or below. And that tells us it's low competition. So I then went through and I was able to find best Colombian coffee. This site was at 13. Just the other day, it came down to 25. That's kind of normal volatility. But that's a classic affiliate keyword, 600 searches per month. So then I decided to have a look at the search results for best Colombian coffee. And we can see we've got a DR of 8 at number 1 with an e-commerce site. They do have colombiancoffee.us though, a good exact match domain. But then from this, I've been trying to extract some low DR e-com sites for coffee and try and work out what their traffic has actually been doing over time. So this one, that's coffee.com, obviously not huge traffic and it's been declining ever since January 2023. But we're not really seeing some of the big drops, for instance, in September with the helpful content update. Bit of a drop here in November. It's still only a DR 26, so not a particularly powerful site. Now this one, peachcoffeeroasters.com, this has got a DR of 31, which is roughly in line with my expired domain that I have. And it seems like they rocketed up late in 2022. And now these are not big sites by any means, but you can see there's consistency there. They don't seem to have these big ups and downs that we've seen with a lot of content sites lately. So these seem to be passing that test that Google likes e-commerce sites. But when I look at the keywords, it gets even more compelling because we can see most of their traffic actually comes from Ethiopian coffee, for which they're number 2. But the crucial point here is it's not an e-commerce page that's ranking. It is blogs/our community/guide to Ethiopian coffee. So we can open that and you can see this is a classic long form blog post. So this is exactly the kind of content we were all relying on for SEO, for affiliate, and yet they're in the top 3 with a page of long form content and a DR of only 31. So pretty good, but not great. But we can see there's these related products at the top. And if we go through the top pages, we can see all the other sites are their e-commerce product pages. So from this, there are basically 2 things I want to test, which is basically, can we just create a fake e-commerce site where can we basically just get a data feed and we could probably scrape it from another website and just upload it to WooCommerce or something like that to fill a site with 60-70% pages of fake e-com products and see if that actually improves one of my content sites that has dropped. But at the same time, I want to know if I can use Dropshipper and basically go through their list of coffee and actually build a real e-com site, a real dropshipping business using this coffee, and then add in affiliate blog posts to other products as well. So to get started with this one, just to get an idea of competition and whether these are actually viable products, I've used my Instant Data Scraper Chrome extension, and that's allowed me to copy the whole list of coffee they have available. So all of these I can white label and dropship. Now I'm going into ChatGPT and asking it to add coffee to the end of these. I know you can do it in Excel, but I'm not clever enough for that because Colombian, Ethiopian, that's not going to yield the right search intent for us. I just want to drop this into Ahrefs and see what the volume is for the coffee product without confusing it with the Wikipedia page for caramel or anything like that. So obviously the exact match for Cowboy Blend coffee might have a very small volume, but in Ahrefs we'll then be able to see the traffic potential, which is all the variations of that keyword for the same search intent and how much traffic they actually get. So that's going nicely. If you're clever, you can just do this in Excel. So let's go to our Keywords Explorer. I'm just going to drop in this full list. We want United States. And like I say, we've got search volume here, but I'm actually more interested in traffic potential. But every one of these keywords we know we can actually get from not Dripify, Dropshipper. So once again, rather than getting overcomplicated here, I'm just going to do lowest DR. My coffee site is a DR of 30 or so. So I'm going to put in 20 here just to be sure. And yeah, let's put that in the top 5 and see what we get. So we've currently got 41 keywords. How many of those can we regard as low competition and of a similar sort of competition to that my site could potentially rank in. I've got 9 keywords. So Colombian coffee, of course, is up there. We know that. Ethiopian. So traffic potential, we're already seeing about 2,000 there. So the trouble with dropshipping is I don't think it's huge margin, especially if you're using this kind of private label provider where they do actually do a lot of work to make sure you have an actual product, an actual brand, rather than just some white packaging from Wish. So it looks like total traffic potential around about 2,000 a month. Hopefully we can get some subscriptions and recurring revenue that way. So it's not a 10 out of 10 opportunity by any means. But I'm just wondering, is this the magic pill that could fix helpful content issues and therefore allow all the other pages on that site to rank and therefore rank for proper high-ticket affiliate products?